some, get some. Can I get a hell yeah? Yes, I am a pirate. You have to go with the pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything. It's a pirate's life for me. Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're pirate. It is a first down. Pirates. Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. When you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it. I think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there. You live with Omaha? I can promise you that. And it's purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down of my soul, and I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome into the Sports Objective as we have our Pirate preview here on a Wednesday night. Remember, every Wednesday night, because of all those wonderful, and I say that sarcastically, Thursday night games. So we just go ahead and do the Wednesday show for you to get you ready. With us right now, ladies and gentlemen, the man that can move mountains, Kyle from LaGrange Barber. How are you?
Move mountains. I don't know about that.
Wow.
What's going on, guys?
There's a reason why
I think I know what that comment is alluding to.
Yeah.
But I take no credit, nor any blame.
All right, and welcome in Stevie Fly. What's up, brother?
What's up, buddy? How y'all doing?
Doing good. JR, what's going on, man?
What's good, fellas? I'm happy to be here tonight and look forward to this game.
No doubt. And with us right now is former DB under the Logan era, and of course, been with the Pirate Sports Radio Network. Help me out, Kevin Monroe. How many years now? 20.
Well, I think it's my 23rd season.
Wow.
I knew it was over 20. I just couldn't remember the years are running together, brother.
Yes,
and
since fall of 03.
Heard on Pirate Radio that this is your last. Is this really your last year?
This is my last one. You probably heard that my oldest son is committed to play at Stanford, and so I'm going to have to choose him over East Carolina in terms of where I'm going to be on fall Saturdays.
I understand that. That's why we're running late. I apologize, everyone. My son Alex played his first middle school football game. They won 54-0. So the Gators are, in fact, 20. This guy's is 26 straight wins by this middle school program.
Wow.
So Coach Floyd is awesome. So I want to, it's not about me, but I want to give everybody with that program a shout out. They're doing everything the right way and off the field, and they're winning on the field. So anyway, I hope that's it won't be 54-0 on Saturday. Kevin, if we win by 1 point, guys, I'm going to be tickled. And I don't know why. Maybe, and we'll talk about our predictions at the end of the show, as we always do, and we encourage all of you watching and listening right now to do the same. But Kevin, how are you, first of all, for the game, how are you feeling about Saturday night's game under the lights there in Dowdy-Ficklen?
I feel really good about it, honestly. I've had the opportunity, obviously, to watch BYU this season because they did play Stanford, so I took an interest in that game. And, obviously they won big over Portland State, and they got the victory over Stanford. Their defense is really, really good. I definitely give them credit for the pass rush, the front seven, stopping the run. They're good in the back end. It's going to be tough sledding to move the football. However, their offense is not super impressive. It's not a magical offense. It's they got a freshman quarterback playing. He'll hold the ball too long sometimes. He's only attempted 38 passes this season. They want to run the football. So if the Pirates can come out and stop the run, I expect this to be a good game. I don't doubt that JDB will find a way to get the ball moving offensively. If they can slow down BYU's run, I think the spread was 7.5. That's probably fair. I think the Pirates will be in it most of the game and have a chance to win late.
Kevin, when you look at this game, in my opinion, you look at non-conference games over the last several years at Dowdy-Ficklen, not a lot of Power 4, formerly Power 5, now Power 4 opportunities coming to Greenville. Last one was South Carolina in 21. You look at this game starting off 2-0, or excuse me, starting off 2-1. Some momentum from last year. I feel like this is the most excitement around a non-conference game in Greenville. There was some excitement last year for the App State game because of the in-state rivalry. But in terms of an opportunity, I feel like this is the most excitement for an East Carolina home game for a non-conference home game in a long time.
Yeah, that's probably fair. We had some lulls during the Mike Houston era in terms of fans filling the stands, and so we also didn't play some of the better schedules as of late, and so to have to start the season off, playing against NC State, and then having two good victories, obviously Campbell, but then a good victory over Coastal Carolina, and you come into this game against BYU, where this might have looked like a game where it would be a 2-touchdown spread or more in the preseason. It's starting to look like the Pirates can play with these guys, and so I think people are getting excited about it. So everything that I'm hearing is, hey, I'm coming to the game. I can't wait to see how the Pirates play. And I think a lot of that is Caden Hauser, right? We've had 3 or 4 seasons of just mediocre play at quarterback, trying to find our guy. And, we found him in the back half of last season, and he started off this season with a bang. So when you have good quarterback play, it changes everything. And I think you're seeing that all around the country. You can just take a look at Texas to see, where good quarterback play makes a difference. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it, and I think Pirate fans are as well.
Yeah, and I want to correct myself. This is the last Power 4 opponent to come to Greenville with South Carolina in 21. It was NC State in 22, so just want to correct that. But, yeah, a lot of excitement. You mentioned Caden Hauser, but I think another thing that's got the fan base super excited and believing we can hang with BYU is the defense. I mean, the question mark, to the fans, and media going into the season was defense. And so far, so good. The way I put it, I think Josh Aldridge and Blake Harrell have got the most out of the talent on the defensive side of the ball they possibly can. Is this the most talented defense in ECU history? No. But I think they're doing a good job of putting people where they need to be. I think they're doing a good job of rotating players in and out. The guys seem to be in position to make plays, and we pursue to the football really well.
I would definitely agree with that. I mean, obviously, you see early in the season what we've done. The first half of the NC State game was probably the worst half of football defensively that we've played. And even that was just a couple of big plays here and there. But ever since then, they've kind of put the clamps down on everybody. I think Coach Aldridge and Coach Harrell have put their stamp on this defense. And, coming into the season, I think we lost 8 or 9 starters last year off the defensive side of the ball. And so that's the reason it was a big question mark, because everybody's wondering, what they're going to do. And in a normal season, you'd think, oh my God, we're rebuilding. But with the transfer portal, you just kind of reload. And so they were able to bring in some DBs, some D linemen, a linebacker or two. And all of a sudden you start to plug and play where it doesn't matter that you only have, Lampley or a couple of the guys returning that got significant playing time, because now you can put in those guys that you got in the portal and give those younger guys time to grow. So, yeah, I think they've done a good job of getting this defense ready. The philosophy obviously is to stop the run first and force teams to throw the football and try to beat you over top. And that'll hurt you from time to time if you're not covering deep. But for the most part, if you stop the run, you'll win most ball games.
No doubt, Kevin. We've got some questions for you. So I want to go ahead and get that to you. Put your questions and comments for Kevin obviously in the chat there for Facebook and for also YouTube. And from YouTube, Kenny, who has a birthday. Was it yesterday or today? Happy birthday to Kenny. One of our regulars. Kevin, BYU running back number 4 is a beast, but after that, I haven't seen much for the rest of their offense. What have you noticed?
I would agree. I think his name's LJ Martin. He's got 241 yards so far, 9 yards a carry this season, 120 yards a game. So he's the real deal. I will add that Bear at quarterback can run the football. He's tough, but he's a true freshman. He's got 17 attempts so far this year, but he's someone you have to keep an eye on. He runs tough. He gets that extra yard on 3rd and short. But I would agree with that. Offensively, they want to run the football, line up and run it down your throat. They'll use, some of the fakes from the quarterback. Sometimes he'll keep it. Sometimes he'll hand it off. But they don't really scare you in the passing game. They don't want to throw the football unless they have to. Now, he can throw it. He's an accurate passer, and he's done that in games. But I do think the caller is correct in that, if you can stop LJ Martin and keep the quarterback from running the football and get them in 3rd and longs, I think you have a chance of stopping that offense.
All right, let's go. Thank you, Kenny, the birthday boy. Once again, let's go to Robert Dedrick. How much do we use Mike Wright, quarterback, to complement our run game, especially a few third and long when they are in a pass personnel package and expecting Hauser?
I think it's smart just to have him on the field a lot. They've had both quarterbacks on the field at times just to kind of, make it seem like, you never know when Mike Wright might get the ball, when he might get under center, when they might pitch it to him, when they might hand it to him. So he has been that extra threat so far. He only has 8 carries on the season, but just the threat of him being in the game, I think, matters, and it makes defenses have to account for him. So I think you do use him more this week, especially if London Montgomery and Parker Jenkins and Marlon Gunn and those guys are having trouble running the ball up the middle, because this is going to be the toughest run defense we've seen so far, including NC State. And so it may be tough sledding, getting the run game going. So if you can get some jet sweeps going with guys like Spalding, Anthony Smith, hand the ball to Mike Wright on the end around or a little bit of misdirection to get something going offensively in the run game, that's what you might have to do. And the thing about running the football is you don't always have to be successful at it. You just have to do it. You have to make defenses pay attention to it. That way you can throw the ball on the next play. So and open up some play action. So I think they'll get Mike Wright involved because they're going to have to try a lot of different things to get the running game going.
Kevin, do you think, heading into this game with BYU, you look at this past week against Coastal, where we blew them out. We didn't do a lot on offense. There were some plays in the screen game. We ran the ball a lot. You go back to Campbell, a lot of underneath passes. I have a feeling we're going to pull some rabbits out of the hat this week. Anytime you're playing BYU, you're trying to pull off that upset. So you're going to see gadget plays, trick plays, parts of the offense. I may be using Mike Wright more than what we have. What are you feeling like me that JDB is probably going to pull some rabbits out of the hat this week?
I think so. In a game like Campbell, you don't have to show a whole lot, right? Because you just line up and just kind of run it right at them or throw it quick and let your guys get on the outside and make plays with their feet. So you don't have to do a whole lot. And then Coastal, you get so many turnovers in that game. You end up with a lot of short fields, and so you don't have to show a ton in that one either. But BYU is a different beast. I mean, they took a team like Stanford, who's got a lot of offensive talent. They're not real good at quarterback right now. That's the reason they only put up 3 points. So they took a team like that and just not allow them to move the ball very successful at all. You're gonna have to find some things to get that defense, loosened up, and that's usually when your screens and your draws come in, your misdirection plays, your trick plays. So I agree with that sentiment in that you got to find what's working and you got to catch that defense off guard, and you got to use their pressure against them. So they get upfield, you throw the screens behind them, you run the draw plays behind them, you have a reverse pass or something like that, so they're not just firing up the field with their ears pinned back on every play.
All right, Johnny, I know Johnny has a question. Go for it, Johnny.
Well, yeah. Hey, Kevin, since you're a Stanford expert, you've watched them, I think every game this season. Okay, so they had 19 rushing yards against BYU, but they didn't seem to have any problem against Hawaii. They had 177, and last week against BC, they had 213. What was it about BYU? Just the size?
So both the Hawaii game and the BYU game, quarterback play was just really, really bad. They have a 6th-year player at quarterback who has just really struggled. I'll give him credit. He played great against Boston College, and that's why they won the game this past weekend. But he just really struggled. And so when you get in a situation where your quarterback is making bad decisions, he's got happy feet, his throws aren't consistent, he's not finding his receivers, then you no longer have to worry about the pass. Then you put 8 in the box and you force him to try to you get your corners to man up, and you say, okay, throw it, we dare you, and you just come at him. And that's what BYU did. They had 7, 8 in the box all night long. They stopped the run game. They completely shut it down. And when it was time for the quarterback to pass, he couldn't find anywhere out there to do it. East Carolina's a different animal. Caden Hauser is, he's played in the Big Ten. He's used to pressure. You're not going to scare him just by, putting a bunch of guys in the box and coming at him. He's pretty calm, cool, and collected. They're going to spread those guys out, not allow them to just put a bunch of guys in the box. They'll have 4 or 5 receivers on every play, and they'll just throw it around and try to make them go east to west to loosen that thing up. So I think you'll have opportunities to run the football if you can also pass it and get a couple catches in the passing game to show them that you can do both. But yeah, I think Stanford just could not pass the football, and that really hurt them. That's why they struggled to run it.
Okay, following up on that, I felt like Caton was using the short pass, and in replacement of the run game. He was 23 of 23 for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I mean, who needs to run or throw the ball long when you can do that consistently?
I think that is a kind of a deal of JDB's offense where he's like, okay, I'll try to run it a few times. If you stop it, we will use short passes to emulate the run. We will use that as our running game. So you have guys like Anthony Smith and Yannick Smith on the outside that can catch the ball, that can break tackles, that can make moves and get upfield. Brock, that's just like a run, a run play. And so he'll try the run a little bit, and then you saw that in the state game. He kind of bailed away from the run quickly when he saw it wasn't effective, and he started passing the ball a lot. So I agree with you. They use a short passing game to kind of emulate the run, and if the run game's not working, they'll just stick with it.
And in closing, I was just going to say BYU's having a difficult time with their short passing game. I mean, he's thrown it 19 times for 3.2 yards an attempt. I mean, really not much success at all. So, I mean, I guess they're going to have to run it. If not, they're going to try to protect their freshman quarterback. So I'm looking for them for the short passes and running. And if we can contain the short passes, I think, our chances of stopping the running game are probably much better.
That's exactly right. Go ahead.
Kevin, just a little bit more. This is more related to Stanford, but just curious, when they were a common opponent with BYU. Stanford dominated them. Then the BC game. Stanford puts up 30. Stanford looked horrible against Hawaii.
Yeah,
and Hawaii's not very good. And I didn't get to see the BYU game, but I saw the score. Then I didn't see the Stanford BC game this week. How much of Stanford's performance against BC do you think had to do with BC losing in overtime at Michigan State the previous week, then having to turn all the way around and travel out to California?
That's probably a little bit of it, but I will say that Stanford just, they made some opportunistic plays. They took a 15-yard tight end out route. He turned upfield, broke a tackle, and went 69 yards for a touchdown. And then the very next series, a corner jumped an out route and took it to the house for a pick six. And so they were just opportunistic. They made a couple plays. They got the momentum going. They got the crowd into the game, and they were down 17-6. All of a sudden, they're up 10. And they got the crowd behind them. So I think Boston College never really recovered from that. So it was really just their playmakers making some plays. And then they also had their running game was going. I mean, I don't know what happened with Boston College's run defense, but they probably had 4 or 5 run plays of 20, 30 yards or more. I mean, I think he broke one for like 70 yards, got caught from behind, but they were able to run the football on him as well to kind of run the clock out.
Be interesting to see if they're able to sustain that, if they got something going, or if that's going to be kind of an anomaly, because they look bad against Hawaii. They had that off week before BYU, and then I'm anxious to see, just from a curiosity standpoint. BC.
They have a redshirt.
Go
They
ahead.
have a redshirt freshman quarterback that's backing up the 6-year player who everybody loves, and he can run and throw. And I was told that if the quarterback didn't play good in the Boston College game, they were going to pull him and put the freshman in. He just so happened to have his best game, so we'll see how long he lasts at quarterback. But they're really excited about this redshirt freshman.
Interesting.
No doubt. Let's get some more. We've got a lot of comments here. Ryan says, hi, Kevin. So Ryan King.
Hey, Ryan.
Let's see. Kenny says their run defense looks good, so we can hit on a few screen plays, then across tight ends across the middle. Yeah.
That's a great point, because I've loved the way that our tight ends have played so far this year. I didn't know a whole lot about Javante Connor coming into this season. And I've been super impressed with him. He, 6'3", 6'4", big body guy, runs well, catches the ball with his hands. And when Riles went down in the Campbell game, he kind of came in and just kind of took over with 3 or 4 catches over the middle. So I agree with that. You get those tight ends, especially in a game where you've got a lot of pressure coming up the middle of that front seven. They're blitzing running backs, they're blitzing linebackers. You can sneak those tight ends kind of right over and just kind of run hook routes right where those linebackers left, and get some first down. So I like the way the JDB has used them recently. And Riles, when he's healthy, I mean, he's one of the fastest players on the team. So to have those kind of weapons at tight end is big time for the Pirates. And I hope they continue to use them, because we know about the threats from the outside, and you get too busy worrying about those guys and leave those tight ends open, they'll make plays.
Kevin, a lot of people, and it's good to see, think the Pirates have a chance to pull the upset this week at home. The line even says so. It opened at 9.5, got down to 7.5. Last time I looked, it was at 6.5. So a lot of people put money on the Pirates. But, you look at BYU, they were 11-2 last year, 11-2. They're 2-0 so far this year. They've won 13 out of their last 15 games. They've got a stifling run defense. Losing their quarterback before the season to that whole mess that was, and now he's at Tulane. And now they got Bayer, who oddly enough transferred from Stanford. But so what I was getting at with there, I kind of got off on a tangent. But when you're playing a football team that has won that much, now we've won a lot recently. If you look
Yeah.
at it, we're 7-2 over our last 9 games. But when you're taking on a team that has won that much, that is 14-2 over their last or 13-2 over their last 15, 11-2 last year. How tough is it to beat a team just with that much confidence that's won that much?
I would say, it's tough, but playing them at home makes all the difference in the world. And so you come out and you put points on the board, or you move the football early and get that crowd into the game. Everybody's been at Dowdy Ficklen when it's rowdy. I mean, it can be stifling in there. But this is a defense now. I'm telling you, they've got, I think, 17 and a half tackles for a loss, 5 sacks. I mean, they just bury teams with their pressure. And so it's going to take, like we talked about, some screens, some draws, some different things to keep them off balance. If we just let them just fire off the ball and come at us, we'll get buried underneath it. So we've got to find a way to be creative, to get that ball out quick, to get it outside to our playmakers, so that they can get downfield or take some shots. That's what it's going to take. But this defense will get after it, and that's what's tough about them. But I'm not worried so much about BYU's confidence, because as you also said, East Carolina's coming with a lot of confidence. But if you go out there a couple series, remember early in that state game, I think the Pirates had 3 or 4 straight 3-and-outs to start the game. You come in there like that, it's going to get ugly quick.
Chuck says, just tuned in. I actually don't feel good about this game. Their lines are better than ours. I think BYU wins. Hope I'm wrong. Chuck, I hope you're wrong also. Let's see here. Kenny says Stanford had terrible turnovers against BYU. He also mentioned, Kevin, what the point I want to make to you tonight is like Lincoln Riley. We throw to run. I think that's how we're going to beat. That's my analysis, is how we'll beat. Not that simple, but definitely along those lines for me.
Well, and I don't think you come into the game thinking like that. I think you come into the game saying we got to find a way to run the football. But
Right.
like we did in the state game, you see quickly that you can't do it, and you'll go to the throw, you go to the pass, and so and you'll come back to the run. You can't abandon it completely, because
Right.
if you do that, then as you said, they'll pin their ears back and come after you. But yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think they're going to have to throw some short passing game to kind of emulate that run.
I think we're going to see some attempt at some outside running game this week, probably more so than we have. I'd like to see, and you don't want to get Caton hurt, and this is a big physical defense.
Yeah.
And you can do it with Mike Wright, but I'd like to see it with Caton because he can do it. He runs the speed option really well. And you get that speed option on the outside, that may be a way to run the ball, but you don't want to get Caton hurt.
Listen, I stand by that. My 4th and 1 play against NC State would have been the RPO where Caton pulls it out and runs around the end instead of the play we ran. So I don't disagree with you at all. You got to run him more just to keep him honest.
Hey, Kevin, I did have a question as far as speed option and that up-tempo offense. What are your thoughts on and I know we're all I love defense, so I'm not like hating on the defense side of the ball, but how the defensive coaches now are dealing with substitutions, and they're taking their sweet time getting the guys on the field. I just want to, as a defensive guy, you're a D-back for life. I know that, and a defensive guy, how do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, the Pirates do it better than anybody else. If you ever watch, if that offense substitutes, the Pirates will jog their guys out there as slow as possible, and it's just what you do, right? You want to frustrate the offense coordinator, frustrate that quarterback that wants to get in and snap that football, and it gives your defensive guys a chance to breathe. And I know it frustrates JDB when it happens to us, because we are an up-tempo, high-paced offense, and when teams go jogging their guys out there, it slows everything down. That's part of the reason that we try not to sub a whole lot, especially in the middle of a series, because we know they're going to do that. I don't have a problem with it because it gives the defense a chance to rest. But the Pirates are going to get it as much as they give it. They definitely give it.
Coach Shiitake, BYU's head coach, I don't know if I said his last name right. I hope I did. He has lost to East Carolina twice. 0-2 against East Carolina. He came here with the worst team in BYU history back in 2017, and we beat him. And I, honest to God, if you'd asked me then what I thought the odds were he would still be the head coach in 2025, my percentage would have been about 0. So he's come a long way since then. But we beat them down there in 22 when they had a really good team, and we went on the road and beat them. But on the last second field goal, yeah, exactly. But point being, they're not going to overlook us. He knows who we are. He's 0-2 against us.
Well, look at
you know, when trying to pull off an upset, how much do you take into account that we ain't going to be overlooked? And sometimes that's hard to come across to the players. But all he's got to do is put up that game film from 22. And the way these kids go on mission, some of those guys are still there from 22.
Listen, I'll go on record to say that I didn't feel great going into the state game for the very reason you're talking. We had just beaten them in the bowl game 6 months ago. Those players weren't overlooking the Pirates. They were coming in. Matter of fact, they had that game marked as a game they wanted to win, had to win. And so they came out playing like that, making plays in that first half, and it made it tough on the Pirates. Had they not played them in that bowl game, no doubt the Pirates would win that football game. Or if that game is at home, there's no doubt the Pirates win that football game. But they had the opportunity to have it on the road, and they didn't overlook us. So same thing, BYU and the coach, they know what the Pirates are capable of. They know they've lost to us in the past. And I'll just make one comment on the head coach's resurgence, NIL. BYU is not afraid to spend money. It's going to even out a little bit more now because of the revenue share. But that's how they rebuilt that program, was with NIL. You can look at their basketball program, getting the #1 player in the country. They spend money. They've got some billionaires that have graduated and live in that Provo area, and they will spend it. And so that's how they've gotten those guys to come out there. And it's starting to show because they've got a lot of good players, especially on defense.
Read that comment, Dave, so you can get it off the screen. It's about to drive me crazy.
Well, I was trying to put it up there so you would see it to talk about it. Kalani is 6-7 versus Group of 5 and Eastern Standard Time. His own games and 9-7 overall. So there's something to be said about traveling. I'm not saying this is everything, but it will be a factor. And by the way, Kevin, they were talking about. He made a comment about the airports. There's not easy way to get into Greenville, like that. And they're coming in actually tomorrow. I said, it has nothing to do with the airports. It has to do with the fact that they're coming all that way, like 2,000 miles or something. I don't even know I'm saying that off the top of my head. And they're coming on Thursday, so they'll have a day to prepare and get their bodies acclimated so they can play on Saturday, because you can fly into Greenville with a chartered plane. I mean, come on, this is not Morgantown, right? I mean,
listen, that's just how it is. And it was always tough to get to Hattiesburg. And Jeff Bowers loved it, and they beat our behinds every time we got there. You talk about Morgantown, same thing. Sometimes we stayed in Pittsburgh and other places try to get in there. It's just part of the game. East Carolina's not the only place that it might be tough to get into, but it is what it is. You come in and you play the game. Now, I will say the time zone thing that's a real thing. I mean, I don't know how these teams, Stanford, Cal, flying on the East Coast, 4 or 5 times a year to play in the ACC just seems like insane to me. Because it definitely makes a difference on your body when you cross some time zones like that. So I definitely get that coming from Utah to the East Coast to play a game. It's going to affect those players, but it is what it is. The teams have to do it going both ways.
Yeah. Hey, I remember 2022. I think it was the game after we went to Provo and won. They had to fly to Liberty, and Hugh Freeze was saying, "Hey, this is the biggest game in our history," and it didn't end well for the Cougars. They lost 41-14. And I listened to a podcast from BYU today, and they were like, this game reminds me of that Liberty game. And they also said at the beginning of the season, they said they identified this as the most dangerous game on their schedule until they play Utah in week 7. And so they're going to Boulder between now and then, and they're going to Arizona, to Tucson. So, I mean, there's respect for the Pirates out there for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Like that. I don't like that at all.
They're confident. They're definitely confident. I have an office right next to a BYU grad. He played golf there, and every chance he gets, he walks by and he says BYU. Like he's overconfident. So I know they're confident.
That's what I like, Kevin.
But they also respect us, no doubt.
Yeah, there's a lot of listen to a lot of podcasts, watching a lot of social media. They are not overlooking us at all. I mean, we're not flying below the radar. I know what you mean, Kyle, because as a coach, you like to fly below the radar and sneak up on some of these teams, especially like a BYU team. But we are not flying under the radar this time.
No, and which I would say it makes if we do get the win, it makes it even bigger. I wanted to ask Kevin, and we'll circle back around to the BYU game, but quickly, NCAA officially passed the rule tonight, that we're going to have one transfer window. Spring transfer window is going away, and they're going to move that transfer window. It's going to be in January. They're going to finagle with the date a little bit. They might extend it. Right now, it's a 10-day window to enter it in January. They may extend that a little bit, but most of the bowl games are going to get played, and we're not going to have a spring transfer window. Kevin, I think that's good for the game. I think the players need to have freedom to transfer. I think they need to get paid, but again, the revenue sharing model I think is better than the NIL. It looks like the Wild West is coming to an end, and it ain't going back to what it was, but it's probably going to settle down and be a little less insane. Because quite frankly, the way it's been the last 3 years, I don't think sustainable.
I do agree with that. And having the portal open so often it just got confusing. Especially having a son that was trying to get recruited and coming from the high school level. It's like, okay, well, we're looking at the portal guys now. We'll be worried about you guys in a couple of months. And so, yeah, I think having that one window makes a big difference. You wonder if eventually they'll make it to where you get kind of the one free transfer. And then after that, they slap you with sitting out for a year. I do get it when your coach leaves. If the head coach leaves, maybe that takes it off, and then you get to go move freely. But I think guys having the opportunity to move 2 and 3 and 4 times with no penalties, it taints the game a little bit for me. But definitely, I think they should be able to move around if the first spot doesn't work out and they want to go somewhere else. Coaches do it all the time. I think they should have that. But I do like them just doing the once a year. I think that's going to be helpful to the game. And the more tweaks they can make to stay within the same frame, meaning players get paid, players can transfer, but it's not so crazy, I think that's for the better.
Yeah, and being in January, I guess some kids, if you already know in your head you're going to transfer, you may opt out of that bowl game anyway. But I think it's going to help the bowl games and postseason get more kids to participate in bowls again. Even if they're thinking about transferring, they can't do it till January. They might as well play in their bowl, show out, and maybe get more money.
That's exactly right. So many guys didn't play in their bowl games, and that's happened over the last several seasons. So that's been a little bit disappointing.
Yep.
Kevin, I do have some breaking news, non-football related. If we can put it up here, I want to get your reaction. I'm sure Kyle will enjoy the fireworks Saturday. It was all him. Appreciate it, Kyle. LOL. I don't know if you know that, but we're having fireworks for the very first time at Dowdy Fickle. We were talking about that on Sunday night.
I made a post about it on our Facebook page that did quite well, that we could take some things from Coastal, including, they had fireworks in their intro, and they were going to have fireworks after each score, and they didn't score.
Well, maybe they can give us some of theirs. They didn't use
Now we're going to do that. We're planning on having fireworks after each score. I hope we don't jinx ourselves.
If we get shut out, Kyle, it's your fault.
It's just, no kidding. But I was glad to see that because I have complained about some in-game experience stuff, and I think we need to upgrade some things. And I think having the fireworks is a nice touch, making things more fan-friendly. It's a big game to do it in. Hopefully it works out and we have a nice display at the end. And another thing that's going to be interesting to see that I have complained about at nauseum is the third down music has been atrocious. Atrocious. And I was not Hell's Bells, but for Who the Bell Tolls for Coastal. Such a simple choice, but much better choice for third down. And I'm hoping to see, that implemented also. But I do think it's interesting that we go down to Coastal and we see some of the modern things they're doing to kind of help their game day atmosphere. And then, I don't know if this was already in the works for the fireworks for the BYU game prior to that Coastal trip, but I do think it's kind of interesting timing.
Listen, I had an opportunity to visit Coastal during the recruiting process, and they already have their indoor facility open. Obviously they have the green field. They've got nice facilities. It's all about the recruits these days, and it's a race to get to the best facilities, to have the most money available for these guys. And so in-game experience is a part of that, because you're going to have recruits there for every home game, and if you can show them a great environment, they're going to consider going there. So absolutely, I think the more the Pirates can do. As I said, when I was recruited myself 30 years ago, NC State already had an indoor facility when I took my visit there. And here we are 30 years later, just trying to, break ground on ours. So all these things have to get done if you get the best players.
No doubt.
The fact that Kyle is worried about third down music makes me happy, because that means we're winning. because if we're losing, he's not talking about third down music. I can tell you that right now. By the way, how about this, Kyle? Kenny says, I heard they might paint the field purple for Kyle.
good
Oh
Lord.
My
gosh.
God, I don't want that. I
No.
that's Kenny. That's Kenny. Look, see, Kevin, a little, um,
Backstory.
yeah, backstory on that one. Thanks, Stevie. I was worried, and people made fun of me for this, that the teal field could be something we had to adjust to and could be distracting, or something that maybe messed with some of our players' vision, particularly under the lights. And people thought that was hysterical, but it clearly didn't bother us. But it was honestly something that was on my mind. Does it seem as dumb to you as it did to other people?
Well, I don't think it's dumb, but having seen the field in person, I didn't think
Yeah,
it
it's
was
more
that big.
green than I
Yeah,
realized.
yeah, it's not that big a difference. Now, if that red field, whoever team has that red
Eastern
field,
Washington.
yeah, and then obviously the Boise blue. I think those might be
Yeah.
a little bit different, but the teal wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah, and I actually heard from their beat writer. He was on the show last week. That is they put down new turf, and that teal is way more green than the previous teal. The previous teal had more of a blue hue. So yeah, I thought it looked good. I actually thought it looked good Saturday night, and I thought it was green enough that it wasn't that off-putting.
Yeah, I agree.
He says, Justin says, use the Stone Cold music.
Justin, I'd be down for that, man. Third down, you hear the glass shatter, and then that would be awesome. I'm with you on that one, Justin. Great idea.
How about this? BYU Radio is saying that they expect 5,000 to 7,000 BYU fans in Dowdy.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
If you look at Mormon population percentage by state, on the East Coast, Virginia is number 1, North Carolina is number 4, as far as Mormon population on the East Coast. So between Virginia and North Carolina, I would expect a lot of Mormons to make the trip down that follow BYU.
And the local churches.
Say again?
The local churches. I was just adding what you're saying.
Yeah, the Mormon. There's a Mormon church in Kinston. There's one in Greenville. There's several out towards the Triangle. And again, just up the road in JR's home state of Virginia and Stevie's home state, there's a the largest Mormon population by percentage on the East Coast. So they brought a large group of fans to Dowdy Ficklin in 2017. And so I would expect them to be doing it again this year. Now they're in the Big 12, which is great. Help us sell it out. Look, 8,000 BYU fans versus 40,000 Pirate fans. We still have the advantage, and they're here, spending some money, helping boost the economy of Greenville. So I welcome them and hope our Pirate fans I hope we beat their ass, but we're as kind to them as we can be while we're doing it.
Justin Butt says, use Blake Harrell's "Hell yeah, give me a third down, hell yeah."
There you go, Justin. That's
Kenny says foghorn.
Leghorn. I don't.
Don't do a foghorn. Good Lord.
Third down. That's what Kevin wanted to talk. Kevin, as a former player,
does it matter?
Third down. No, but here's my thoughts on that. And we're really here to talk about the game. But my thoughts on that is, the third down music is not for the players; it's for the fans. It's supposed to get the fans jacked up, and then the fans are supposed to get the players jacked up. Is that not how it's supposed to work?
100%. When you're out there, all you hear is the noise. You don't hear the different things that come along with that noise. You just hear the noise, and if you're at home, that means they're cheering for you. And so if the crowd can get going, that's all the players care about. They don't care about what music is playing or whatever else is going on. They just want to hear that crowd noise.
Yep.
No doubt. And let's see.
Hey, Dave, I wanted to ask Kevin a quick question about defensive backfield. From the start of the season until now, I just feel like it's evolved to the point where when guys were getting on the field, they were performing. And now, it's kind of blurry between starters at all the cornerback positions. I just feel like Chance Graves and Tamir Brown and even Duncanson at safety, they're all, when they get in there, they're bringing it. And I just feel like we're so much deeper than we were against NC State. I just wondered what Kevin's thoughts were on the defense.
I'll just say that the coaches aren't super confident yet in a pair of corners. They went into the season with Reason and Lowry being their top two guys. Didn't like the way they played against NC State, and so Tamir Brown gets a start at one of the corners in game 2. And I think they're just trying to rotate these guys and figure out the right combination. What they are happy with is Tegan Wilk and Jamali Riddle as safeties. So you keep those guys back there. Hopefully they can keep the middle shut down. And you can get some quarterback pressure to help out the corners until they start to play better. I like the fact that Brown played a lot last year, and so they have some confidence in him. But Reason and Lowry have to get going, and a couple other guys that are getting their opportunities. It's probably the most wide open position on the team right now in terms of they're looking for guys they can count on, so they can put quarterback pressure on and not have to worry about it. I remember when Coach Tim Rose came to be our defensive coordinator in 98, I think 97, 98, he told Coach Logan, I can only be the defense coordinator and run my defense if you have good corners. And just so happened that, myself and Forrest Foster were the corners at the time. And Coach Logan said, we got two good ones. And so we were able to run a lot of blitzes, a lot of different stunts and do different things because you weren't worried about what was going to happen on the outside. And so that's where they want to get to for Coach Aldridge's defense to work like it wants to work. You remember when Blake Harrell was running this defense and we had good cornerback play, he was blinging blitzes left and right. And we got to get back to that. But it's hard to do that when you're scared they're going to throw one over top of you.
Lowerly is somebody that, at Western Carolina, I watched him play last year against NC State, and he looked great. And he was an All-American, not just All-Conference. He was an All-American at the FCS level. I expected a lot out of him this year, and I still think we may see it. Are you surprised that he hasn't been more of a success early?
I did see all the stuff coming out of Western, and I watched his highlights, and I was excited about him coming. I'm still excited. I just, when you play corner, deep balls over the top of your head should be few and far between. It can't be something that happens on a regular basis. You can't have receivers run down the field open. If you want to get some balls caught in front of you every now and then, fine. But over top is just a no-no. And so those guys have to be more confident on that ball going up and they've been in the right position. And until they can do that, it's not good for the Pirate defense. And so that's why those guys keep getting rotated out.
I know it's early in the season, but on both sides of the ball, who's been a surprise player on both sides of the ball for you so far?
I'll definitely say Brock Spalding, even though I knew his ability last year. The fact that he's catching deep balls at his size is just really, really impressive. I hate to slap the Tyler Snead on him just because they're both short and white, but he plays a lot like Tyler Snead. And then it just, he breaks tackles, he gets downfield, he makes things happen. So I've been very excited to see the way he has played. Raheem Craig on defense, even though he's one of those guys that came, coming back from last year, you didn't know exactly, what kind of role he would take on this team. I think he's been really, really good early on in the season. Tegan Wilk coming back, from transferring back, has been solid in the run game, coming up making tackles, but also playing well in the back end. And then Jamali Riddle, the kid's a player. He played as a freshman last year, making plays, and now back there again this year. New number, same attitude. He's not afraid to hit. He's a smaller guy, but he's been a run stopper and also done his job in the back end defensively. So that's just to name a few guys. I'm excited about that defense as a whole, the way they've been playing, but they'll get tested more and more as the season goes along.
Yeah. Somebody I've been a surprise to me, and Holton has talked about it quite a bit, and I'm surprised he's not starting yet on that other line. Panda asks you, anytime he comes in, we seem to run the ball so much better when he's in the game.
No doubt. And this offensive line play after game one, JDB wasn't super stoked about the offensive line as a whole and said that he was going to try to rotate some guys in game two. And I think they did a little bit of that against Campbell. And so they're trying to find that right combination of five. But you're right. I think Askew's looked good. I think a few other guys that, have stepped up when they've had the opportunity to rotate in. But it's not over in terms of that front five. I think there'll be more rotations as we go along.
Speaking of which, Kevin, I know that you're back in the day with you as far as when it comes to Coach Logan. Coach Logan prided himself, as you know, on playing a lot of players. I know that we could do that with, I knew that we were going to do that, obviously, with Campbell. I didn't know we were going to score 56 points, but we had a lot. And then it seemed like last week, because of the score, we played a lot. I know that it's going to be tightened up a little bit, but don't you think that's an advantage for us? We have so much talent.
Yeah. So two things. One is you have that whole, redshirt thing, right? And so if you're considering redshirting a guy, he can play in 4 games. Well, you don't necessarily want to throw him in tight games. So when you have opportunities in a Campbell game where it's a blowout, or in that Coastal game in the second half, you can get some of those young guys in, or guys that you maybe they're a sophomore or junior, but you're planning on redshirting this year to get more out of them next year. Give them those opportunities to play, because as we get into conference play and as games start getting more and more important, you're not going to want to do that. So that's part of it. But also, you're losing players at certain positions for next season. So you want to see some of these young guys play, and having the opportunity to get an extra running back in there. I think we played like 5 or 6 running backs in that first game, in that Campbell game. We talked about DB play. We rotated, 7 or 8 corners in there in that game. So yeah, getting these guys in when the game is kind of out of control is a perfect opportunity for. It's still a college football game. You're still playing 2s and 3s, and there's good players out there, but you get to see what they play like when there's bullets flying at them.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, Kevin, as you, I don't know how much more time you have with us, but just quickly, as we look down the schedule here after the BYU game, we're certainly not looking past the BYU game. It's huge, but you got Army on a short week, then you got an off week, then you got Tulane. To me, this 3-game stretch here is going to kind of determine how the season is going to go. If you go 3-0, good God, the sky's the limit. If you go 2-1, you still feel really good about your chances to compete for a conference championship, win 9-10 games even.
Yeah.
Even if you go 1-2 these next 3, which you don't want to do that, but even if you do, you still feel pretty good about things, because the schedule eases up so much after that. Who knows what can happen? God knows. Look at the second half of last year. But do you kind of feel like either this 3-game stretch is going to determine whether we're contending for a conference championship or just trying to get to a bowl game?
Yeah, I think they're very important. If for nothing else, getting past this BYU game healthy, playing well in that game, win or lose, will say a lot about where we are as a program. I think Army is a very, very winnable game. Thank God the quarterback from last year is not there anymore. I would say the same thing about Tulane, but the kid they got playing there is a pretty good player at quarterback. That's the new guy. So these games, they don't get easy. Yeah, exactly. These games don't get easy over the next few. And I think if you play well, you can steal 1 or 2 of them. I think that's good. And as you said, leading into the conference season, we know we're going to win some of those games, and so we're going to start to open up some eyes around the nation. If the Pirates can win more of these games that may be going into the season, people didn't think we were going to win.
Are you again more big picture? Looking back at last year when Blake took over, and he rode the momentum. You always wonder in that kind of situation, is this all momentum? Then he wins the bowl game. Then he comes out and it's 3 games in, but we're 2-1. Are you surprised at the job he's done, or is it what you expected?
I was surprised last year. I did not expect us to roll off 5 in a row or whatever it was. So after the first couple, I was like, wow, he's got it. But as he started to get interviewed and you started to see what they were doing, practice times were shortened. He's more loose around the guys. You got offensive linemen returning punts in practice. Like it was a different atmosphere. Coach Houston, I'm a big fan of Coach Houston, but he ran this drill sergeant tight ship, and you were always, pins and needles playing tense around him. And if he was all over you when you messed up. And Blake doesn't coach like that. He's not a pushover, but he's going to tell you he loves you. He's going to hug you and get you back out there on the field. It's just a different way of coaching.
When has that worked here before?
Right. Rough, right?
Yep.
So, that's the way he coaches. And I think guys, not everybody, responds to that kind of coaching, but I think the overwhelming majority do. And I think that's why he's been so successful. And the guys just love to play for him.
I think in 2025, particularly with, I know you got a young son. Of course, he's probably been raised a little different than some of these kids. But I think in 2025, particularly, you need to be more like that than up in people's face.
Well, and you get a couple kids mad, they'll just hop in the portal, right? So
exactly.
Not to say you got to be so nice, but that's just where we are.
You can't really. They make it too easy when the situation isn't good for them to leave. So you can't really coach like a guy could coach 20 years ago. Same thing in high school. I can't coach my team the way I was coached, because if I did that, good Lord, I wouldn't have a team, because it's a different generation.
You probably wouldn't have a job.
I was getting ready to say,
exactly.
You grab somebody by the face mask like the back in our generation.
I was yanked off the field several times by my face mask. I'll put it to you that way.
No doubt.
So Kevin, obviously, with Robert says he expects a low-scoring game, but just want to get your thoughts. I agree with that too. What are you thinking about? I know you're not. We don't expect a prediction from you, but what do you expect as far as the line is? Like we said, 7.5. So are you expecting? Oh, it's 6.5. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
we got 6.5.
I didn't realize that. Okay, I'm not a betting man, as you can see.
Yeah, I think the line is fair. I think it is. I think coming into this game, because of how good their defense is, I think Vegas is expecting us not to be able to move the football. I do think it'll be a close game. I think the Pirate defense will play well against this BYU offense simply because this quarterback hasn't been overly impressive throwing the football. So if you can put 7 or 8 in the box and stop LJ Martin and slow this run game down and force the young quarterback to make plays with his arm, I think you're going to be successful. So, I don't know how it ends up. I do think it's close, especially in the first half. And if the Pirates can come out in the second half and play with some intensity, they'll have a chance there at the end. I don't think by any means they'll get blown out. The only way this game ends in a blowout, I think, is if the Pirates start to turn the football over. You get a couple sack fumbles or pick sixes or something like that. Block punt where things just start kind of reeling in the wrong direction. That's blowout material. But I don't think this BYU offense can blow them out just as they are right now. The Pirates have to help them out a lot.
Hey, Kevin, I had a question about Bear. Does it make it harder on him, the fact that he missed spring ball, or he was a late transfer? I mean, does that make it harder on him, or does it reach the point where, it is what it is and he's ready to go?
I'll say no, only because he had, he was at Stanford, right? And he was able to practice with those guys. So it wasn't like he was, in high school or just chilling somewhere. I mean, he was somewhere practicing.
Yeah, you know what? I feel the same way because I felt the opposite, and I was happy. That I was like, well, we got an advantage. But then, J.K. Sagapula or whatever, the kid from Hawaii was playing for California. I know I botched it. I know I did.
You do, and you'll clean it up.
Anyhow, that guy, his first game ever, he goes to Corvallis and thumps him. So so much for the late transfer of true freshman jinx.
Yeah. And I don't think that about all true freshmen. I happened to watch the Stanford game and just wasn't overly impressed with Bear in terms of how he was handling it. I mean, he got sacked a couple times he shouldn't have. And so I just think if the Pirates can get in his face, they can rattle him a little bit. And so that's what I'm hoping for.
I'd take the under. Bubba, Dave just put on the screen the over-under from Vegas is 49.5. I would take the under. Under. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got me thinking, I'll give my score in a little bit, but I didn't know that was the over-under. But anyway, Kevin, do you have anything before we let you go? We appreciate always for you coming on, and obviously we'll have you back, but appreciate all the great years on the field, and appreciate you, obviously, your swan song. We totally understand. I get it because my son is now in 7th grade, so I get where you're coming from, and I respect the fact that of you as from dad to dad.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are probably as surprised as I am that I've been on the air for so long. I mean, it's just flown by. I mean, my first year on the sidelines was John Thompson era, right? And so
that's right.
that was just miserable. And I can just remember trying to interview him, come off the field at halftime, and we'd be down 40 points at half, and it was a mess. And to live through that and to get into the Holtz era where you win a couple championships and you start to turn this thing around, and then you have Ruff and all the coaches that I've been able to be a part of while being on the air. It's been a great time. So yeah, I've enjoyed it and loved every bit of it. And it doesn't mean I won't come back. Both my boys go play college football somewhere, hopefully, and then they're done. I have an opportunity to come back in 7-8 years if they need me. I'd love to do that, but for now it just makes more sense for me to be at their games, and I'm excited about doing that. But definitely not thinking about that right now. Thinking about this next game, this BYU game, and hoping the Pirates can pull it off.
Kevin, I'm sure we'll talk to you again, but quickly before you go, I just wanted to tell you, as we look back on your career calling ECU games, I got 2 memories that stand out vividly of your calls. One, no flags on the field, Jeff. No flags on the field. Black punt against Virginia Tech.
Yep.
And then the other one, we make the field goal to beat UNC. And holy guacamole.
Yeah. And that's kind of hilarious because there's some backstory to that. And, the CEO of my company, Cap Trust, Fielding Miller, he's a Pirate guy. He's a huge supporter. The School of Entrepreneurship has his naming rights. He gives a bunch of money. And so he said to me, before that game, Kevin, if we can beat UNC, he said, I'll cut a check, a nice size check to the charity of your choice, but you have to do something for it. He said, you have to say something of my choosing on the air at some point during the game. And that was he said, you guys say holy guacamole. And I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to say that.
It fit perfectly.
It was so much craziness going on after that kick. It just fit, as you said, and just came out. And I was super excited to get that check for charity.
Well, we appreciate you so much and look forward to the call. By the way, I was telling Jim Zoki, my daughter was upset with the Michigan game because the fans were not cheering for the Pirates for some reason. So finally, it was towards the end of the third quarter. I finally said, all right, we're going to listen to the Pirate broadcast. And you guys sounded so great. Even though we didn't play our best, it was so good to hear you and Jim. And think a lot of, obviously, David. I've known him for 30 some years now, a long time, but just enjoy the broadcast. And Maceo, it's just, it's been great. I'm a radio guy, as you know, so listen to the broadcast. I listen to radio, and I'm kind of weird. I listen to radio and have the television on too. So,
yeah, I don't know if Andrew will take over full time or if they'll let if Maceo will have an opportunity. How will they end up? But I know I'm leaving it in good hands. And I'll certainly be listening, but it's been fun. It's been an exciting time. And that Michigan game was a lot of fun. The score maybe didn't show up, but I thought the Pirates showed up and played well. For the majority of that game. Obviously, JJ McCarthy made a couple of throws that were just incredible. But they came into that game with two Heisman hopefuls at running back, and I thought the Pirates played really good against that running game. And so that was a fun game to call.
No doubt. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you, and hopefully we can be talking down the road about a lot of wins just rolling right off, and starting with. Certainly this one on Saturday night will be great. Great atmosphere.
That'd be awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Enjoy.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin. Great job.
All right, bye-bye. Appreciate Kevin very much. And guys, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be. I'm not overconfident. Let me just say that. But I do have a good feeling about this game. And Stevie, by the way, brother, I hadn't had a chance to text you. We got to get you to a game. I miss having you at a game, and we got to do that very soon. So let me know when. I know you have.
He's available this Saturday, Dave.
He is?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Okay, we got to find a ticket for him.
Possibly. Stevie Fly is available this Saturday. If you'd like to have the head coach of Northeast Academy, the member of the Sports Objective podcast, join you at the game. Hook him up with a ticket. Let's get Stevie Fly's ass in the stands.
Yes.
Right now, the Stevie Fly from On the Fly, for the head coach of Northeast Academy, the member of the Sports Objective podcast, the man with the plan. He says Murfreesboro. It'll be worth it just to hear him say Murfreesboro.
He's actually living in Delaware now.
How many cliches can Kyle say in 30 seconds?
Look, Stevie, I'm putting you over, baby. I'm putting you over. You're the man with the plan. You're too sweet to be sour.
Man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. Bro.
That's right. Man of the hour, too sweet to be sour.
Hey, by the way, I found out a few days ago, Stevie's in Delaware now. He keeps.
Delaware. I thought I was way further north now. By now.
Oh, really? Well, I don't know.
Stevie is so far north. You know where he actually lives? Alaska.
Yeah, Alaska. Yeah, that's been told that several times, dude.
All right, so let's give our scores and get out of here, guys.
All right, I'll go first. Man, Bubba, appreciate you, bud, for I'm not a betting guy. But thinking about this game the last couple days before knowing the over-under, so let me say it like that. I have the Pirates winning. That still could be possible. 27-21 Pirates. That's what I'm going with. I don't think we get it, obviously, many points, but I still think that with JDB, we can still get that amount of points on that defense. We got 24 on State. So who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I'm going 28-27 Pirates. There's three gentlemen from Georgia that are getting increasingly more playing time on our defense. Julian Davis, Kyron Davis, and Kendrick Dujour. All of them are just getting better every week. And one of them is going to make a big play and lead us to victory. Their kicker does scare me, though. He's 6 for 6, had a 56-yarder and 10 for 10 on extra points. Hopefully it won't come down to that. 28-27 Pirates.
All right.
You want to go next, Kyle? You want to finish it up, Kyle? I'll go next.
Yeah, you finish it up. Go ahead.
It's going to be in that 20 range. I know everybody's in the 20 range. I'm going 24-21 Pirates.
All right. I'll take it. Well,
hey, everybody has picked the Pirates to pull off the upset, so, why should I be any different? But I'm going to break it down a little further.
Break it down.
Break it down, brother.
All right, so here we go.
All right.
Late in the game, BYU is going to be up. It's either going to be 17-14 or it's going to be 20-14. I can't decide which. Late in the game, and the Pirates are going to score a touchdown in the waning seconds and kick the extra point to either win at 21-20 or 21-17. That's what's going to happen. Pirates scored to win the game in the last 30 seconds or less of the game, either 21-20 or 21-17. There you go. You heard it here first.
And the fireworks go off.
The fireworks are going to go off in the background. And I said it be done. Now let God's will be done.
Oh,
he said, I think BYU is going to be similar to 2013 Virginia Tech, where we lost 15-10.
Oh, shut up, Hayes. Nobody asked you.
All right, here we go. Philip Lee, ECU 31, BYU 24.
Although I do see what Hayes is saying very much. So.
Peacecraft 21 says 36-30 overtime thriller, baby. And Dowdy
36-30. How many overtimes do we get? How many overtimes do we play to get to that score? If we get that 36-30 against
66-60. Yes.
Yeah, that would be like a 3 or 4 overtime game, I bet, to get that many points in this one.
Yeah, and I'm glad to win the game, Peacecraft, but I just don't see a score. If we score 36 on BYU,
we damn sure better win.
Yeah. We better on that. So yeah, I feel very good, guys.
And let me say this, and my last statement on this game, and this is just Pirate Nation. Look, savor this moment. We're 2-1. We got BYU was top 25 team last year when it finished 11-2, coming into our house, and we're only a 6.5 point dog. The worm is starting to turn. It feels like things are starting to get like how they used to be, and we ain't there yet. But this is an opportunity.
We need people there.
Win or lose, if we play well, and but God, if we can win this game, and I'm going to encourage everybody to enjoy it. If we win it, the students who maybe never experienced a moment like this in Dowdy Ficklin, if we win it, enjoy it, storm the field. I picture it now, fireworks going off in the background, students running on the field.
Take down the goalpost, baby.
Well, no, they collapse them. ECU being chanted in the stands. Just, I wanted one of those moments at the bowl game and got it. And I think it's time to have a moment in Dowdy Ficklin. We have not had a moment, a special moment. With apologies, we had some great moments. The Memphis win and 4 overtimes, Holton senior year. The win over UCF, Holton senior year. But we have not had a special non-conference moment in Dowdy Ficklin in a long time. So I really hope we get one this Saturday. And if we do, everybody savor it.
And if we do, I'll be filming Kyle pencil rolling.
Oh yeah,
there you go. I'll do it.
Have that YouTube channel ready, because we're gonna put it out there, baby. It's finally come true. By the way, Johnny brings up a good point. You guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but one of our dear friends on the show is retiring from basketball. Cy Seymour will not be doing the TV broadcast now. He decided to retire. So it'll be interesting to see.
Christian Bateman's taking his place?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, Cy, we'll have to have him on and definitely honor him. And I agree that the administration needs to honor him. I mean, he's done like 20-something between radio and television. Is 20. Bubba, help me out. I know Bubba's the numbers guy, or Johnny may know, but
he's one of my favorites. That's a dagger. Wow. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, Cy is 70.
Cy was that good.
Yes.
Bubba just popped on that one.
Yeah. So anyway, anybody? Let's see. So we've got that going on.
Let's wrap it up, guys. Let's wrap it up. Come on, it's an hour. Let's go.
One more question, I promise. Has the game sold out? I was going to ask that. And
Not yet. Tickets still available. They released more tickets in the upper deck on Monday. Please go to ECUPirates.com, buy your tickets there. $57 tickets in the upper deck. There's still some lower level tickets left for around $80 a piece. ECUPirates.com. Get your tickets there. Buy them. Let's sell this thing out.
Tailgate lots open at 1:30 for Stevie Fly.
All right, hush now.
All right, guys. Johnny, do you have anything before we get out of here?
Not really. I would say BYU's roster. I mean, they have a Bear and Tiger. They also have a
Tigers and Bears. Oh my!
Yeah,
Oh my.
they also have a P Rex. His name is Preston Rex. Raider, Ace, Cannon, Maverick, and Lucky. So they got the all name team over there in Provo.
And they have the whole bloodline. What's up, Oos?
You're not feeling very oozy.
I'm just gonna leave that one alone, Stevie.
All right. Stevie, you have anything before we get out of here, bud?
No, just go Pirates. Let's pull off the upset this week.
All right. Who has a ticket for Stevie? Let us know.
I'm working on it, Stevie.
Jeez, stop it.
All right.
Stop it.
All right, we miss Matt and definitely want him to come down as well. So maybe we can have a show where everybody can be together at a game. So we'll see. All right, guys. Good luck to the Pirates. Thank you, Kevin Monroe. Thank you, Kyle, Johnny, Stevie, and thank you to all the callers and listeners. Again, happy birthday to Kenny.
Callers.
Sorry, viewers. I want to say. So there you go. I was thinking about that the other day about trying to get the calls back on for the Pirate football.
Yeah.
Hey,
right.
Dave, what's your tailgate number? I'm going to come visit. 163?
613.
613.
It's right behind, if you want to come see us, right behind gate number 1 or a little
All
bit
right.
gate number 1.
I'll see you on Saturday then.
All right, man. All right, we'll get out of here. Thank you guys so much. And as always, go Pirates.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.